You thought you could beat me, huh?
You worked so hard to save your world. But there are other worlds. They are coming.
Who's they? There you go. You don't have to stay for the end credits now. I just told you what happened. That's it. That's it. That's all that happened. I just got back from seeing Captain America 4, aka Brave New World. And this time, we took notes. There is a lot to discuss with this movie. At the same time, there isn't a lot to discuss, if that makes any sense. It should when we're all said and done. So first off, let's just talk about the story, the plot, what happens. The whole plot of this is that Captain America, Sam Wilson, is now doing jobs for the US government. He is. He's kind of jobbing himself out. He has created a friendship with Isaiah Bradley, who we discovered is a secret Captain America in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, if you didn't watch that show, you're going to have a hard time following. Oh, wait, no, you're not, because they tell you everything. They say everything. It's like, hey, you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier? It's okay, I have a couple lines for that. It truly is exposition. This entire movie is exposition. It's absolutely insane. The action scenes, oh my god, I'm gonna be all over the place. So let's just talk about the plot. So Captain America is doing jobs for the US government at the behest of President Ross. He ends up saving this canister. This canister, and by the way, we're going full spoiler, so I hope you didn't mind. This canister holds a sample or a whatever of this new mineral adamantium, this new metal adamantium. So they're finally bringing adamantium into the MCU, and it comes from the Celestial Island. What's the Celestial Island? That is Tiamut coming out of the Earth. Remember all the way in Eternals? And that's it. They finally wrapped up that. If anything, I would title this Captain America Loose Ends Exposition. It seriously just seems like their big goal with this entire movie was to take a bunch of loose ends that they left open and try to give them an answer to try to make it interesting. I mean, I did care. I cared about where the leader has been because that was set up back in 2008. I do care what happens to Tiamut and whatever it is coming out of the planet. That's been a big thing of this whole channel. I do care about how Sam is dealing with being the new Captain America. Seems like he's taken very well to it, and it seems like everyone's on board. Every single person. It's almost like the very first time you meet Sam in a bar, every single person's going, Cap, 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 Cap. The dude did one thing and then told people that they shouldn't be calling them terrorists and that the senators need to be doing better. So that's all he's done as Cap, at least. Not to get me wrong, he has done a bunch of great things in the past, and that is something. Has everyone forgot what Sam used to be? Or who Sam is in general? Sam was a pararescue special forces with the jetpack suit with wings. He was pararescue. I do believe he was, he was a soldier, a fighter, but I thought he was a rescuer. And he was working as a VA help. He was helping veterans get over their traumas, get over their acclimating to normal civilian life. That is who this character is. We've lost sight of that entirely from when he got introduced. We've lost sight on that entirely. Now it's, God, I miss those old days. For that very reason alone. That is character work that is not going to happen here. The biggest character work that you're going to see is from Ross, and is from Isaiah Bradley, and from his new Falcon, who is Javier. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm sorry. There's a little bit at the end that brings in the character of who this guy is and what Cap or Falcon means to him. And that only happens at the end. You know, that doesn't happen throughout the movie. That relationship, it really doesn't do anything. What is their relationship? There is no friendship, bonding stuff. There's like a couple of scenes, but most of the time the scenes are just to get them running to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. That's all it is. So let me go through. Okay, so he's doing jobs. He's got the adamantium sample, and now General Ross is now President Ross. You see him become president, and oh my God, you see the problem right off the bat. You see President-elect Ross, an assistant of his, comes up and he goes, "Have you heard from my daughter, Betty?" Like, what, dude? Have you heard from my daughter, Betty? If it's like your assistant, then she would know her name. He wasn't talking to that character. He was talking to the audience. Right off the bat, you should have made him way more sympathetic by just saying, "Have you heard from her?" "No sign, sir." Boom. And then everyone in the audience like, "Oh, who's he asking about? Who is he talking about?" That keeps me interested. That keeps me interested. And then it's revealed maybe at the end that he's been trying to get a hold of his daughter for so long. But no, they have to tell you right off the bat who his daughter is and all this other stuff. And that is going to be the biggest problem with this entire thing. Exposition wrap up. That's it. It's an exposition wrap up. That's what this movie is. The action. The action in his first scene in the white suit of getting the canister back from the serpents, the Serpent Society or whatever they're called. We have Sidewinder, who is Giancarlo Esposito, or as I call him, Giancarlo Exposition, as he is in this movie, because his character is purely meant to just show up randomly, drop some knowledge, maybe have a little bit of action in another scene, and then poof, he's gone. Like it's like whatever. They just like the way he talks. It's very, very jarring in this scene, which is actually the first action scene that they released. It was just this week. It's this guy talking smack with him, and man, no offense, but lots of offense to the director. I don't know who directed these reshoots, or if this was a reshoot, or whatever, but the action scenes for every single one of these, it is so slow. And the theater, I don't know if the sound mixing is off. The theater, it just sounded like sound was coming out of the screen. And I went to a freaking Cinemark XD theater. Like, this is supposed to be your premium theater. I don't know if they didn't get the sound locked in or what, but every single punch, hit, throw, kick, smash, everything felt so weightless. So weightless and inconsequential. It's like, again, he tells you that he broke a rib. The bad guy tells the audience that he broke a rib. It wasn't a snap. There wasn't a smash. There wasn't a scream out in pain. Anything like that. Just letting us know. He's like, you know, something. Like have him. He broke a rib. Fuck, man. So over-explaining. This is entirely through the entire movie. I am flabbergasted at the amount of explaining this movie does. Every single action that happens on screen, you are told happens on screen. When we get into this other part, oh my God, it's like when he smashes the dude through there. "Oh, I think you broke a rib." Yep, that I did break a rib. Giancarlo Exposition is dropping every single plot point that you need to know what's going on, basically. Over-explaining, exposition dumps. And this is the first page, by the way. Value bin Winter Soldier. That's what this is. This is Rent a Winter Soldier. It's very, very sad to see the quality drop off, man. And I know that this is a holdover. This is a holdover from, you know, a bunch of problems that they have. Maybe the shot during COVID. I don't really know 100% all of the information, but you can tell this is a patchwork job of a movie. This is a patchwork job of a movie. They are trying as best they can to salvage what they have here, and it is very, very sad. I don't even think Phase 2 movies felt like this. I do feel like, fudge, I think the Marvels was better. Now, if you're talking Thor Love and Thunder, that might be better too. Shit. Wow. So yeah, Sidewinder, Giancarlo Exposition, that's his name. He is Sidewinder, and you know that because they told you. So, bad action, over-explaining. So, Ruth is just randomly with President Ross. She supposedly is part of his security detail, and right off the bat, you get this weird feeling about her. And I don't know if it's just because she is 5'1" or 4'9". This lady is tiny. And it's like him, Sam, and her kind of get into it after the assassination attempt, which, oh my god, I missed that part. Forgot everything that happened in this movie. It's almost like the movie is played on 1.5 speed because so much happens, but none of it has any dramatic effect. That's what I mean, that this is just stuff happening, not characters making things happen. Point being, right here, you see a scene with, what's his name?
Joaquin.
Going to train with Sam, and we see Isaiah Bradley, who is going to be a semi-big part of this movie. Isaiah probably is one of the most emotional characters that you can have at this point in time. He has gone through so much in his life, but again, and I will stick by this, we should have seen him as the secret Cap during the Korean War. We should have seen it. Again, stop telling us this happened and let's see it. You should have had a whole movie right now talking about the backstory of Isaiah Bradley. It's a war movie, and then have him in a one part face off against the Winter Soldier. I'm sorry. I'm just writing checks for you. That's basically another Captain America movie, but what you're doing is you're setting up Isaiah Bradley, and then you can have him go through a bunch of stuff later on too, but then you see him nowadays and you understand fully what this man went through versus them telling you that he was in prison for 30 years and they did experiments on him. Oh, and he's a super soldier. And then Joaquin has to go, oh yeah, I read that top secret document about you in Korea. That's it. So anybody who hasn't watched Falcon the Winter Soldier has no idea who this person is still, and there is no dramatic tension or connection, emotional connection to this person. Anyways, they get invited to President Ross's night because he saved the canister, and he brings
Joaquin,
and he says, you have to bring Isaiah. You have to bring Isaiah. So with that, you learn that Isaiah is wearing a suit that he wore when he got married to his wife, who is now passed away. So that suit means a big deal to him, which is good. There's a little bit of emotional ties again, something that you don't see Sam Wilson have, really. The assassination attempt happens. You figure out that it's not only Isaiah Bradley, it's actually 5 other dudes, and there's some wackiness, mind control going on. They look at a cell phone, it flashes in their eyes, and then once they've seen the flashes in their eyes, the song plays, and then they just start killing. I don't know how they get communications on what to do. Maybe it's during the flashing. They don't explain that part, that's for sure. They explain everything else, but they don't explain that part. They just say, oh, there's flashing lights, and then all of a sudden they're starting to kill people when a song plays. That's it. So Isaiah attempts to kill President Ross, but it looks like, they find out later too, that he wasn't aiming for him. He was aiming next to him, because he had him dead to rights. If he was trying to kill him, he would have. So that tells you that the plot means for Ross to stay alive. Ross needs to stay alive. So they find out where Camp Echo 1 is. I don't even remember how. I don't remember where. Something. So Cap and
Keen
end up going to Camp Echo 1. They infiltrate it in this very, very low dramatic. There's seriously no drama or tension. There's no tension in this movie. I felt zero tension. I felt zero fear for our heroes. At Camp Echo 1 is hilarious. When they're looking through binoculars or whatever, you see the guards. They seriously look like Party City Army guard gear. It's like ODs, really weird old digital ODs, and then it's like a black body armor, but it's like all fabric. It's crazy. I cannot believe the budget in this movie. You can tell that this may have been possibly reshoots as well. So the pacing is all off. The pacing is so off. It's crazy how fast things are moving. There's like not a moment to absorb anything that's happening on screen. And there's a couple moments that actually does slow down, and it was pretty good tension. But again, the pace is all over. It feels like the whole movie is being played at 1.5 speed. That's how fast things are happening on screen, and people are just going everywhere about it. It does feel like it is amateur hour action. When they're in Camp Echo 1, they're fighting the Rent-A-Cops. It just seems like so lame action. And then, you know, Sam's getting shocked by this electric wand, and it's not doing anything to him or
Joaquin.
And then they do it to the guard, and it works like magic. Works like magic. Good job. By the way, in the first mission, you learn that his wings, Sam's wings, are Wakanda tech. So it's Black Panther suit tech, vibranium on the wings. Very important. Very important. Every single scene with Ross is exposition. So it's him having a conversation with at the very beginning of the whole event is exposition dump. This is a celestial that came out of the ground. We call it Celestial Island. We found adamantium, and we're here all to sign this treaty so that way we can all mine this stuff and be peaceful. But little does he know that someone is throwing a wrench in those plans. Yes, but who is it? We find out that it is the dude from The Incredible Hulk. He is now the leader from the comics. And boy, it was pretty cool. The green eyes, I thought were badass. The green reflective eyes. If that was a real in-camera effect, I love it. I think that's cool. But the design is very, very bad. It reminds me of the cap from Galaxy Quest. It totally looks like that headpiece that Alan Rickman wears in Galaxy Quest. That's what I thought it was, except for a little bit more bumps on it. But man, the design was really bad, dude. And I like the actor a lot. I think the actor could have done it in a really creepy way. But fudge, man. Fudge. So we find the leader, or the leader finds us at Camp Echo 1. At Camp Echo 1, they're looking through all the documents and they see his stuff on the screen. They see that Ross is there, and then the leader just shows up, by the way. So what's crazy too is that when they came in through the doors, they left the doors open, and then when the leader shows up, the doors are closed. So I'm like, oh, did he lock him in? No, he opens the doors and he walks in. Okay. So the leader has been locked up in Camp Echo 1 for a long time, running experiments for General Ross. So he's been running a bunch of experiments. I even wrote down, stop telling me what's on the screen. So after this happens, we find out, by the way, in this one, they're being arrested by the FBI after escaping Camp Echo 1, after fighting off the guards of the leader. And they're being arrested by the FBI, right? And then, the Israeli chick, who even says they're ex-Israeli or something, her name's Ruth. She shows up at Camp Echo 1 and has a really, really quick hallway scene where I think Javier said, oh, she's ex-widow. She's a part of the Red Room. She's ex-widow, but she wears blue. No, she just wears blue. They didn't say that part, but they should have. So here you have this 4'9", tiny woman who really, really is, I guess. Yeah, you cannot suspend disbelief on this one. Like Scarlett, she had, you know, a physicality about her. And there is nothing in this movie that has physicality until the very end. I did feel some physicality from that, some weight. But here you have this very, very small woman and flipping around and like taking out guys and stuff like that. And they had to tell you because she's an ex-widow and she just so happens to be here. She doesn't do anything in the entire movie. She doesn't lead into a bigger point. She is moving Isaiah Bradley at one point, so she's trying to figure out what's going on, and she kind of runs parallel with Sam and
Joaquin.
And that's why she shows up at Camp Echo 1, because she finds out the same thing they did. She saw the flashing light in the security camera. It wasn't like they were trying to freaking hide it, by the way. The leader's design was terrible. Looks like, as I said, it looks like Galaxy Quest. They call it Celestial Island. So the whole time, President Ross is taking these pills. Now, I really do wish that the Hulk reveal was a secret. That would have made this entire movie, again, better. But they had to have some way of bringing you into the movie. So if they didn't have the Red Hulk, I don't think there would have been any draw into this movie. I think they used that for the marketing because they had to. But it ruins the reveal at the very end, and it makes it just kind of fall flat, and it makes you want the entire movie just for him to show up. It's like, when does he show up? You're kind of just anticipating that the whole time versus it being a secret, making it actually like a secret plot and all this other stuff. And and then having him show up, that would have been an awesome surprise. But alas, they had to tell you again. Man. So he's using pills that, little did he know that those pills that he's been getting from the leader have been slowly introducing gamma into his system until he finally became a Hulk. That's how it works. He slowly poisoned him with gamma. But he did save his life. And that's the reason we find out later, after or at Celestial Island, that Ross employed this guy to save his life. He had a heart attack. You know, he talks about his like third coronary in Civil War. This is the same character from that, if you couldn't tell from the different actor. Almost like it's okay to recast certain actors and it's not okay to recast certain actors. Just saying, maybe you want whatever. Anyways, so you find out that he was dying, his heart. So he went to that doctor who he was forcing to do experiments, and the doctor basically saved his life. At the same time, he then hated him. So he's got this huge vendetta against President Ross. Oh my God, Sidewinder exposition dump. Sidewinder shows up after running away in the very first scene just to get beat up by Sam, who has no special powers and nothing. It seems like a reshoot. That whole portion is a reshoot. It's sad. It's sad. The whole point of that scene was to have him then captured, because we go back to him to question him later on. And that's when he really exposition dumps. They talk about Betty again. He keeps trying to call Betty or talk to Betty, and he says that she won't talk to him at all. Yeah. Oh, so this is the whole Tiamut thing. So grats to the CGI team, and my deepest condolences to the CGI team, because it seemed like they had a lot of work to do. But honestly, this sequence at Tiamut at the Celestial Island is probably the best sequence in the movie. Besides the Hulk sequence, which is okay, but it doesn't last very long. I just saw like parts that were good CG and parts that was just so rushed. It's so rushed. This whole thing seems so fleshed out, and Tiamut's huge, dude. Tiamut is huge. The whole scale of everything is massive. Like, if you saw Eternals, it's like sticking out of the planet. It's insane how massive this thing is. So seeing it in the haze makes a lot of sense, and seeing the size, it's just wild to see. But this was probably the best sequence, but again, they got exposition dumps. So when there's two missiles that are coming towards the battleship, they literally say there's two missiles coming for the battleship. Oh, there's two left. There's two left. I got one. I got one. Just leave it. Just leave it. Oh my God. I almost, while watching the movie, just wanted to tell them to shut up. Just shut up. But man, that was probably the best sequence though. But again, they're just like, I got one. I got one. And then, I mean, I know it's Star Wars, but like, there's two left. There's two left. There's two left. Everyone's saying the same thing. Just let the action play out. And They keep using newscasters to give you more exposition. Fudge. You just saw what happened at Tiamut, right? You just saw the Japanese fighting the Americans and falling to be hurt, and rather than play it in silence, in emotion, you can see the anguish on Sam's face. You can see that his best friend, supposedly, is in the hospital, is in critical condition. You can just play that all in silence. But instead, they have a newscast playing over it saying, "Go, Captain America and his assistant, who fell into the water, who is now critically injured while battling the American planes and stuff." Like, we just saw that. You don't need to tell me it. Man, that's actually the end of my notes. I think I stopped taking notes at that point. But that's when you see the big reveal. Again, spoilers, Bucky. Bucky shows up. He actually is revealed to be running for a Congress. So what's confusing to me is if you just had, I mean, I guess he could be, it's maybe 4 months or 100 days into President Ross's run. And so he's running, now Bucky's running for Congress, which means that he's campaigning 2 years out because Congress is every 2 years. He wants to be a House representative. And this scene has to be there so that way the scene in Thunderbolts makes sense when he's in Congress. That's basically it. That's what that is. So this conversation between Bucky and Sam is to tell Sam that, I think I wrote it down. Bucky says, "Steve didn't give you the shield because you're powerful. Steve gave you the shield because you are you." That's what he said. That's his inspirational speech. That's his after halftime speech, is that you be you. That's why you got the shield, because you are you. And you need to be you. That's all Bucky is there for. He says I love him, but man, I would be like, "Hey, Buck, I could really use a super soldier right now." I could really use a super soldier. Nope, I gotta run for Congress. I'll see you later, though. I'll see you later. So it sets up the final scene. You have a pretty good scene between the leader, who is all of a sudden Jason Bourne, showing up at people's places, killing them, showing up at a secretary's, like a secretary of the Navy's place, and killing him and his family. And then he does a phone call from there who gets Ross really, really angry because he's trying to bring the Hulk out and it doesn't work. So then the leader goes and kills the SEAL team member who has information on the pills, even though we already learned about the pills. Oh my God, dude. This is a jumbled mess. This is a jumbled mess with bad action, with okay CGI. I'll give credit where credit's due. The Hulk at the very end, I think that it actually looks really good. The background, though, looks terrible. The green screen that Anthony Mackie is standing on looks absolutely terrible. The background of DC, did they shoot that anywhere? It looks like the screen set from The Mandalorian. That's what it really looks like, man. But yeah, that scene where he just becomes Hulk and then Hulks out, and Sam is able to keep up with him for some short time because of his Wakandan wings. So it's very important that they set up that the technology for his wings is Wakandan. That way it is able to collect kinetic energy and then blast it out. We all know how Black Panther's suit works. So that is the only reason why Sam is alive today, is because he had Wakanda tech. He even says it at one point after he stabs Red Hulk with the wing and then blasts him with Black Panther energy. He's got nothing left. His wings are busted, and then freaking General Ross comes over and he's about to pound him into dust, and then he says, "No, remember? You wanted to be here with Betty, with the cherry blossoms." And then he goes, "Cherry blossoms." And so after that, he is captured and he is sent to the raft. And then we see Betty. We actually see Betty. That payoff happens. Liv Tyler's back. So it was a pretty good scene. Like, that was another emotional scene. Like, having Ross have this family member. It's almost like, Tony in Civil War, how they took away Pepper so that way he would be in that situation emotionally to make those decisions. They're trying to put Ross in the same position by taking Betty away from him. And so even though he keeps saying that he wants to make up for his past. He's doing better. He's trying to do better, but man, to me, all of it just doesn't work. It's very, very sad. It has a good skeleton. Like, there is something good here, but no amount of reshoots, no amount of whatever you can do can salvage what we have here. It almost should have been just scrapped, rewritten, and start from there, because everything that happens in the movie is just told to you, and yeah, that's it, man. So at the end of it, we have Ross in the raft, and like I showed you, I literally recreated the end credits. You're welcome. You don't have to see it now, even though it's all over the internet. You see the leader on the raft. Sam comes in and he goes, "Ha, that was fun, huh?" And he goes, "You think you saved this world? You did. But there are other worlds. They are coming. I've seen it in my algorithms," or whatever. He's like, it's a predictable thingy. The leader is so fucking wasted. So wasted. He is not smart. His whole plan is not smart. None of it seems smart. Like, he's got mind control, sure, but he doesn't seem like an actual plotting, actual villain, man. Wow. You would think after, what, 15 years of doing this that they would not have a villain problem, but they do. At least they kept him alive, so maybe they could redeem him later, just like they did with Baron Zemo, which they did. Even though Baron Zemo was cool, him becoming the Baron in Falcon the Winter Soldier is probably the best part of that show. So, anyways, that's basically it. I don't know what else to say about this movie. It's sad. It's sad. I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential, and this could have been great. It could have been great, man. I'm just flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. So it seems like everything that we heard was true. All these reshoots and everything, the patchwork was there. It seems like a Frankenstein monster of a movie. So I did talk to some people after the movie, though, and they actually liked it. So again, I could be in the minority. Let me know your thoughts on Captain America: Brave New World down in the comments below. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. And if you like the video, feel free to subscribe. Also, feel free to smash the like button. Really does help out the channel get pushed to new people. And yeah, that's basically it. The camera's running out of battery. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.